Look, our friends. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it is time for another max effort press day. But a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. Over to the pressing. As soon as I started ramping up, I started feeling that twinge in not in my shoulder joint, but in my anterior delt on the right side. The same one that I felt after I hit that 332 Buffalo bar bench, right? And that I noticed was bugging me on my last ME day. I felt it a little bit, and I just called it there. Like, that muscle hurts. I don't need to be going any heavier than that. That's heavy enough. I know it's light. It's only 275 plus 30 pounds of chains. We're not even remotely in the ballpark of what I hit a couple weeks ago. Not even in the ballpark, right? My Buffalo bar straight weight was like 30 pounds heavier than that chain weight is even at the lockout. I called it there. And I noticed on my first set of pause bench, because I noticed I was a little weaker at it last week. Again, I've been cutting. Happens. I went down 10 pounds so that I could get 5 reps, and I noticed I felt it on the first set. I'm like, is my shoulder injured? So I went ahead and did the second set, and then it went away. I didn't feel it again the rest of the workout. So I think what's happening there, I think I basically overstretched my front delts a little bit with the 332 Buffalo bar bench and then the back off work with it afterwards. The range of motion was probably a bit much for me. I haven't trained that range of motion much, and I felt like it strained my front delt a little bit. Not to the point where I can't train, but it's going to need a little bit of recovery time. So, we accept that. It is what it is. As of now, it feels fine while I'm doing my voiceovers. So I went ahead and just did the rest of the workout. And most of the workout I was pretty happy with. Fairly happy with it. These reps were all clean. They were hard. And, yeah, I know this isn't a lot of weight for the pause benching. But you know what? They were challenging work sets. I know that I have weak links on my benching. I know when I'm cutting, my bench is not going to be amazing. I started cutting them and was still hitting PRs. I was still hitting PRs the first 3 weeks of my cut, by the way. Like, I had lost like 8 pounds and was still hitting pressing PRs. So I'm just going to have to get everything dialed back in a little bit. And my deficit's pretty high because I want to lose a fair amount of body fat quickly. So I'm just going to do the best that I can with the pressing. We're going to keep pushing. I'm going to work all the appropriate supplemental work. And if possible, I'm going to try to maintain the bench strength or try to push it back up. But we're not going to go crazy high on the volumes because I can't. And we'll see if the novel effect from adding speed bench back in helps. But I was happy with these work sets, right? I was happy with these. The floor pressing, I was also happy with. I went straight legs. We'll get over to the pull-ups real quick. I decided to stick with this same weight, and I want to work a little more on getting a little bit of stretch at the bottom. Again, being careful of that previous shoulder impingement that I healed. Yeah, and that's why I'm always funny with my right shoulder. Like, that's why I'm careful, even though it feels like a front delt issue, when I'm feeling a little bit of strain or pain in it, because I've had that impingement on the right side. And so I'm cautious of things like that right now until everything is completely never hurting at all at any time. I'm going to tend to be cautious of that. And I don't think it's unreasonable, all things considered, to be very careful of it. So I've been very, very careful about my ranges of motion. But I'm doing these from pretty much my version of a dead hang on the first rep. And if you guys looked at my fitness Facebook page, I did a video of me doing the dead hangs, like a 30-second dead hang, showing you guys what it looks like when I just hang from the bar, which is my main thing for the shoulder impingement. And that's a pretty similar range of motion. But the pull-ups feel good. I feel a ridiculous amount of activation. Even, again, considering my body weight. For those curious, I'm 228 at the moment. I started cutting at 241. I'll drop down to 210. Right, I bulked up to 241, and I'm going to want to stay around 210. I think that's the weight I need to pretty much remain at, and I can bulk and cut a little bit near that. But I think overall, that's where I need to be for health, need to be for strength to weight ratios, things like that. It's probably more ideal. But I want to get there in a reasonably quick manner. But all of that being said, for me to, even at this body weight, to be doing weighted pull-ups at all, considering I've fixed the shoulder impingement within the last year, I'm happy with that. We want it to get stronger, obviously. I mean, in a perfect world, I'd like to be doing 90 pounds for 5. I want 2 plates for 5. It's a long-term goal. But I'm working on just the range of motion there, and the amount of muscle activation I feel on those weighted pull-ups is pretty high. Again, in some cases, it's an underrated exercise. People don't give it enough credit because I feel even my triceps on it. I even feel my triceps on a weighted pull-up. Not just lats, not just rear delts. I feel my triceps, my biceps, my forearms, everything. Brachialis. So I want to keep working at doing it, but I don't want it to get real sloppy or cheating with the form. And I'm going to do the ranges of motion that I'm capable of doing, and we'll gradually build it up. Try to keep getting stronger at it consistently and keeping the workloads reasonable. Again, avoiding overuse. Overuse is what got me originally. With pull-ups, that's how I got hurt. Floor press. I went with the same weight we did last time on max effort day, but I went with legs straight. It's more difficult. Notice, for me, for the floor press, a lot of people think of it as a mid-range movement. Look how close it gets to my chest. It's because that's the thickness of my torso, because I have really long arms. My torso is just that thick. And I thought that was funny. Some people ask me, hey, is Mikey bigger than you in his upper body? And it's like, I outweigh Mikey. I am quite a bit bigger than Mikey. So, yeah, I have longer arms, therefore the proportions look a little different. My arms are probably 4 inches longer than his, maybe more. So it changes proportions. But again, look, watch even the floor press with my longer arms. Just look at the range of motion at the top. That's with a wide grip. I've got my pinkies and stuff outside the rings. This is a wide grip. Ring finger on the rings. I can pretty much touch my chest. I'm about 1 inch away. My back gets any bigger, I'll be able to touch my chest. Maybe if I go a little wider, I will be too. But I was happy with these. They were good, challenging sets. It's only 245. We have room to grow there, but I'll take it for now. I felt like I didn't have more than a rep in reserve on those. The Pendlay rows, or I'll just call them barbell rows. To me, this is just a barbell row. Rowing from the floor is a traditional barbell row, right? A bent over row is when you're standing up at a higher angle. We did 255. I went up 5 pounds. Did 2 sets of 10, then I went for an AMRAP and got 12. The form starts to degrade more as I get around rep 9 or 10 on these though. So again, this is why I'm limiting. It's not that I probably couldn't squeeze out more reps, it's just that I'm going to be cheating more. So is the form usually degrades around rep 10, and that's the appropriate weight. But I did want to take the last set out and try to AMRAP it a bit to let me know where I need to be in terms of weight on the bar. And yeah, I probably can add weight again. We can probably add a little more weight. You know, take it up to 260. But I want to get to where I can take the metal plates off. I want to get to where I can just run 2 bumpers on the side even for my 10 rep sets. Not bumpers, whatever we're calling them. The training plates, the 55s. So, again, I want to get there relatively quick. It's just easier as far as the jarring and the bouncing. But I have to use the plates that I have to kind of make it work. So, again, it just makes it smoother, and it's just not as loud when it hits. It can get annoying a little bit to me when I'm training. So, happy with these though. Back strength and everything's coming along good. And I'm going to need that as I'm deadlift specializing. You know, and that's the thing too. That's why we're doing pull-ups instead of chin-ups. They're actually probably easier on the shoulders, by the way. Based upon some research that I have seen, they have a larger spacing in the subacromial area than the chin-up does. Now, wide grip pull-ups do not when you start going wide. Those are dangerous potentially. So they're safer, they're harder, but they're also probably better for my deadlift. The JM presses, I was not impressed with these today. I couldn't get in the groove. Felt like my elbows dropped too low no matter what I did. Even though this is not that heavy of a weight, I felt tricep on them, but I felt like they were a front delt exercise. Then again, my front delts got hammered super hard with all the work I did today. Right, floor presses hit my front delts really hard. And my pecs. You know, everyone talks about it being, oh, it's great for triceps and lockout. Not for me. I don't even feel my triceps on a floor press. I feel front delts and chest. Both of them very, very intensely, actually. I had trouble feeling my triceps really on these today. And I feel like looking at the footage here, my elbows dipped a little too low. I might drop 10 pounds back off. Again, this is a little bit more of a finesse movement, not entirely, because it's still a multi-joint exercise. And occasionally I'll get someone look at these and they'll say something like, oh, it looks like it's just a close grip bench press to your upper chest. I'm like, it's above my face. That bar is directly over my nose at the bottom. Like I can see the bar coming towards my eyes at the very bottom. feels my field of view. So it's over my face. It's not further down. But I don't know. I just felt so much front delt, anterior deltoid on these today, and not enough tricep. And I'm not saying I didn't feel any tricep, but I felt just as much tricep on my pull-ups as I did on these. You know? So I'm not super happy with the way these are going at the moment. And a lot of my lifters, especially my shorter arm lifters, man, they love the JM presses. Mikey loves the JM. He's just like, my triceps just blow up. My triceps stay super strong. Like even his pressing today, he blasted through a lockout against bands. He stuck 3 inches off the chest, had to grind, and just exploded. JM presses are all we do for his triceps anymore. So I feel like I need to get these a little more dialed in for me. And the funny thing is that I felt like I got more out of them when I did them even incorrectly, to where everyone hated them. Everyone hated on the way I did them when I used to go really heavy and let my elbows dip a little lower. But I felt a lot of tricep. I felt more tricep than what I'm doing now with that lighter weight. I don't know. I'm going to have to find my personal sweet spot on the JM press. I've tried a lot of different things back and forth, and sometimes when I feel like I've got it right, it never feels right. And it felt the best, I swear, when I was doing like 185 pounds on it. And it was a lot more like a closed grip bench. But I felt more tricep. My tricep strength went up, and my closed grip bench press strength went up. So I'm going to have to find my sweet spot with it and just run with it and just ignore what anyone says in comments or anything else. Actually, I'll just ban them. That makes my life easier. I'm going to have to find the way to make it where I feel my triceps the most and I get the best carryover. And I don't know, that may be me going back to the way that people disliked the most. But it worked. My triceps were bigger. My triceps were stronger. And I think that's what's going to matter at the end of the day. I don't know, I'll experiment a little bit with it back and forth. But I either need to go a lot lighter and get even keeping the elbows way higher, or I just need to go really, really heavy. Because I'm certainly not feeling them this week. And then we did lateral raises to failure. And I've had some people say, why do you stay so low? Because this movement, if people complain about it being dangerous for your shoulder joints, well, that's when people go too high on it. It's not necessary. What are we trying to do? We're trying to work the side deltoid, upper traps. We don't have to go super high for that. We don't have to risk our shoulder joint. Okay? It's not necessary. I'm going high enough to where the side delt's the primary mover. Okay? Because they're getting a little underworked. And then my face pulls, I do my face pulls in a way that hits the side delt. Now that's the way that I grip it. The thumbs are towards the face. It's an overhand grip. Whereas really it's an underhand grip. And I'm just supersetting these with band press downs at the end. The band press downs were particularly hard today. So maybe my triceps were hit harder than I thought, because when I got to the band press downs, I felt like I couldn't get as many reps on those before I reached failure as I've been doing in the past. Like it's just I did the other day, right? On my dynamic effort day. You know, we did the same JM presses and everything. So who knows, maybe my triceps did get hit harder and I just didn't feel it as much because the other movements had already hit them hard. I feel like the pull-ups, I swear the pull-ups hit my triceps. I felt them on the bench too though, to be honest. On the training max for the day, I felt a lot of tricep on the right side. And maybe it was compensating for the delt a little bit because that delt didn't feel quite right. There might have been some compensation. But yeah. You know, all in all, I'm kind of complaining about minor things in this video. All things considered, the fact that I'm cutting at a pretty fast rate and I'm maintaining strength at all, and some of these lifts are improving, you know, I really shouldn't be complaining. It's still a good workout, effective workout, got a lot of work done. Especially, I really thought the pause benching and the floor pressing felt really good, particularly the floor pressing today. So let's focus on those positives. That floor press felt really, really good in terms of just activation. I felt so much chest, so much front delt. All right, and I'm using a wider and wider grip on those. I want to get those out to where I'm pretty much super wide at the limits of meat legal on those floor presses and see how it does with building my power out of the bottom. And especially having done them with straight legs, which is the strictest way, I'm relatively happy with those today. All right, but you guys see there on the band press downs though, as I get near the end, I'm struggling to even lock the elbows. They're just jerking up. but my triceps felt fatigued by the time I got to them. And like I said, maybe the floor pressing and stuff is hitting it harder than I'm realizing. I'm feeling the other muscles, but here's what we come to: how we feel can be a lie, right? We can focus on that a little bit too much. Because even with those JM presses, you know, I'm not feeling a lot of tricep, but maybe they were getting worked hard. I didn't feel them on the floor presses. Maybe they're getting worked hard because they were sure beat up by the time I got to the press downs. Right? And the delt pump today was pretty extreme too, because I felt my delts on every single exercise. Everything I did today. And then I do this stuff at the end, and it's like I felt that pump there. So again, my shoulders got a lot of work. So, you know, we'll just take it for what it is. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.